The promoter pattern. So, before we dive into the details around how to manage a promoter, let's have a look at what the promoter's primary drives are and what the needs are that come off that. Because when we understand people's needs, we can then tap into that when we're managing them. So, the promoter pattern, their highest drive, and typically the only thing on the high side will be their extroversion drive. So, this will absolutely be pulling their profile along. They need that social interaction. They need connection with other people. They need opportunities to influence, to share their ideas, to verbalize their ideas. These are all really important needs for a promoter. Now, all their other drives will be on the lower side. You typically see that lower dominance. Sometimes it's on the midpoint, but on the lower side. So they're naturally quite collaborative, harmonious. They love to work with other people. They love to build consensus. And they're what we call very people orientated. So they're always thinking about others in their interaction. They're naturally quite quick to connect, and they'll typically have a lower patience drive or around the midpoint. So typically you'll see them wanting a little bit of pace, a little bit of variety, but if they're on the midpoint, maybe a little bit of stability at times. Now, their lowest drive will always be that formality drive. So you'll see them not needing a lot of rules and structure. They thrive in actually ambiguous situations, such as dealing with people, which doesn't always have rules and structure around it. So you'll see them naturally come across as quite informal, quick to connect, people orientated, and really wanting to influence people around them. Now, if we need to motivate and recognize a promoter pattern, naturally, because they don't like rules and structure, we want to give them flexibility. If we micromanage and put too much rules and structure around a promoter pattern, they're like, oh, I don't need this. It's just not a need for them. It might be a need for you, but not for them. So give them flexibility, maybe explain the rules, but let them work freely within that framework themselves. Create a work environment that's free from competition. Yes, whilst they might have a moderate dominance drive, they don't want too much competition against other people. They naturally work better in a collaborative team environment. They're absolute team players. They do like a little bit more public recognition and I guess to be well regarded by their peers and by people external as well. So typically they like to be seen as achieving their goals a little bit more externally. So that public recognition will certainly wear well to them. Now, if we've got to provide direction and feedback, you can comfortably speak in general terms. You can talk about those relationships. You can talk in a little bit more of an informal way. They naturally themselves aren't too formal, so you can give that feedback in quite a quick way. But be careful around giving them feedback to do with their relationships, i.e., someone doesn't like you, or you've upset somebody, or you've said the wrong thing. They will be a little bit more sensitive to criticism around their relationships. So do keep that in mind. Um, if you're going to give feedback, make sure that it doesn't come off as judgmental or personal, right? They value their relationships with you and others. Provide clear expectations and guidelines around when you expect things to be due. They're naturally quite free from those rules and structure like we talked about. But if something's due, make sure that you're quite clear around that in terms of timelines, deadlines, and quality. Now, don't delegate work that's too structured or work that actually requires them to work alone for long periods of time. That is absolutely not going to fulfill them. If they're very isolated, you're going to get a pretty disengaged employee there. Do delegate work that's naturally really collaborative. Put them in a team, surround them with other people, let them work through their ideas with others, give them opportunity to talk through their ideas, have them lead discussions, have them lead collaboration sessions. They love facilitating and generating ideas from other people. And let them show their outside the box thinking. That's when they will absolutely shine, is in that opportunity where they're building relationships and influencing the room. Now, in terms of coaching, it's really important that they understand how much time they spend talking versus listening. They naturally are really able to talk about their own ideas. It's important that they make sure they spend enough time listening and being very present as well. Train them on the processes and routines that they will probably conform to some process at times. And then also explain to them why those processes are important as well. If you were going to have to deliver, or they will having to deliver some negative news or news they felt actually would upset a lot of people, or it could be a customer, it could be their peers, they're going to find that a little bit more challenging. They don't want too much conflict in their work environment. They really like that harmonious nature. So they might need your support and guidance. If they've got to deliver bad news to a customer, they'll definitely need a little bit of your support along the way. So hopefully this has been really helpful in how to best manage a promoter profile.